All right, listen up, network defenders, architects, and security personnel. This is a Code Ninja Security Advisory. We're issuing an immediate authoritative declaration right now regarding a critical zero-day threat that is actively compromising the perimeter of enterprise networks globally. We are tracking a severely critical vulnerability, CVE 2026-0300, affecting the Palo Alto network's PAN-OS user ID authentication portal. So consider this an urgent tactical briefing. The threat is live, exploitation is very much active, and honestly, your infrastructure might currently be in the crosshairs. Here is our tactical itinerary for today's briefing. Number 1, the zero-day disclosure. 2, security comms check. 3, the threat blast radius. 4, immediate mitigation protocol. And finally, 5, ethics and sign-off. All right, part 1. The zero-day disclosure, the PAN-OS captive portal breach. Let's dive in. This thing carries a CVSS critical severity score of 9.3 out of 10. So what does that actually mean for you on the ground? Well, it means we are dealing with a zero-click, unauthenticated attack vector that operates entirely over the network. It requires absolutely zero user interaction and no prior privileges whatsoever. And the absolute most alarming part? The exploit maturity is confirmed as attacked. Right, this isn't some theoretical lab exercise. This zero-day is already being actively exploited in the wild against production systems as we speak. Trace this rapid escalation with me for a second. On May 5th, we got the initial vendor warning of active exploitation. Literally just 2 days later, on May 7th, the entire situation escalated dramatically when a public proof of concept, a PoC, was dropped on GitHub. A fully weaponized Python payload is now publicly available for anyone to grab. The first wave of official firmware patches, well, they aren't expected until May 13th, with a second wave dragging out to May 28th. This proves we are currently operating in a highly precarious, pre-patch defensive window. The bad guys have the tools right now, and the official vendor fix is still days away. Moving to part 2. Security comms check, establishing the threat link. I need a quick status check from the network defenders in the audience right now. Are you patched, mitigated, or are you currently vulnerable? I want you to drop a comment below with your current network status. Look, this isn't just for engagement. This actually helps us actively gauge the ongoing blast radius of the zero-day across the community, so we can all understand the real reality of the front lines. Now, to maintain a secure perimeter, you absolutely need real-time intelligence. Hit subscribe to @CyberTech79 and enable those notifications immediately. Seriously, consider this a security necessity. Next, drop a like on this explainer as a formal acknowledgement of receipt, a tactical ACK of this critical intel. And finally, drop that comment to participate in our blast radius census. Okay, comms secured. Let's get back to the technical data. Part 3, the threat blast radius technical impact analysis. So, the root cause of this nightmare is CW8787, an out-of-bounds write. Effectively, it's a classic buffer overflow. Here's the mechanical breakdown of how it works. The User ID Authentication Portal service allocates a fixed size memory area just for processing requests. The attacker sends a specially crafted post-request payload that deliberately exceeds this size. Because the service completely fails to validate the length of that incoming data, the excess data spills over, overflowing the buffer and overwriting the stack or the heap. By doing this, the attacker successfully hijacks the instruction pointer, the EIP or RIP, allowing them to execute arbitrary root-level shellcode. It's the whole shebang. Total remote code execution. Let's look at the actual hardware and software exposure so you know if you're in the crosshairs. You are affected if you're running PA series or VM series firewalls on PAN-OS branches 10.2, 11.1, 11.2, or 12.1. But there's a very crucial caveat here. You're only vulnerable if you have the captive portal configured on an interface management profile, specifically with response pages enabled on untrusted interfaces, meaning it's facing the public internet or a dirty network. Contrast this against the unaffected systems. Prisma Access, Cloud NGFW, and Panorama appliances are totally safe from this specific vulnerability. Now, this staggered vendor patch timeline is critical. It indicates that May 13th is the absolute earliest fix date across the major branches. They'll be rolling out specific hotfixes, things like 12.1.4-H and 10.2.10-H36. Take careful note of these versions, because until these specific hotfixes drop and are physically applied to your hardware, your infrastructure remains completely, highly exposed to that root-level remote code execution. Part 4. Immediate Mitigation Protocol, Pre-Patch Defenses. Knowing the patch is still days away, just sitting around waiting for those updates without immediately applying defensive configurations, that is flat-out corporate negligence. Here's the absolute most critical, actionable defense sequence you must deploy right now step by step. Number 1. Restrict your user ID authentication portal access strictly to trusted internal IP zones. It should literally never touch the public internet. Number 2. If IP restriction isn't enough for your setup, disable response pages entirely in the interface management profile on any untrusted L3 interface. And number 3, if you have a threat prevention subscription and you run PanOS 11.1 or later, immediately deploy Threat ID 510019. This signature actively blocks exploitation attempts. Force these hard configuration fixes immediately. I need administrators to hear me loud and clear on this next point. If your portal was publicly exposed to the internet before you applied these mitigations, you must assume breach. Actually, scratch that. Treat it as a certainty. You must immediately pivot to incident response and rigorous log review. You need to be actively hunting for anomalous inbound traffic targeting that captive portal service and checking your system for any unexpected child processes spawned by the firewall itself. Please, do not assume your device is clean just because you finally locked down the IP today.
Finally, Part 5, Ethics and Sign-Off, Coordinated Disclosure.
This situation perfectly illustrates the ethos behind releasing public proofs of concept. When the security researcher operating under the handle P3 and TesterStar released the Python payload on GitHub, it effectively democratized the exploit. Now yes, while it gives threat actors a ready-made tool, it more importantly forces the necessary immediate defensive action ahead of those delayed vendor patches. Full disclosure removes the comfortable illusion of security. It forces administrators to confront the harsh reality. If you leave sensitive portals exposed to the public internet, you are going to get compromised, period.
And that concludes our Tactical Threat Advisory on CVE 2026-0300. Go lock down those portals, apply those hard mitigations, and prep your teams for the upcoming patching waves. But before you go, I want you to ask yourself, is your perimeter truly as secure as you think it is? Or are you just one specially crafted post request away from a total compromise? Stay vigilant out there. Stay secure.